Welcome to Summary Books. Dear friends, the 5 extremely sophisticated money-making tactics of the rich. No wonder they're so wealthy. I have never been interested in money, and these statements might sound familiar to you. The rich often preach about money management but never reveal how they actually make their money. The truth is, their tactics are incredibly unexpected, shrouded in secrecy, and highly sophisticated, and they don't want you to know about them. Today, we will reveal the secrets of these highly sophisticated money-making methods that the ultra-wealthy frequently use to build and protect their wealth. In today's video, I will not only introduce these tactics but also explain why they are so effective. These are strategies not everyone knows, but successful people have skillfully applied them to maximize their assets. Before we dive into the content, please hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and share to support us. Thank you very much. Lesson 1. The Story of the Bread Trick. The story begins with an interview question from Tesla, which once happened in real life with a merchant in a village where the villagers were not particularly interested in mangoes. So how did the merchant sell a large quantity of mangoes to them? This was a cunning trick by the merchant. Every day, he went around the village, shouting that anyone who had mangoes could sell them to him in bulk. He created a fake demand. In the business world, this is a strategy of creating something out of nothing. On the first day, he bought each mango for 10 coins. Some villagers tried selling a mango and received 10 coins. The news spread, and the villagers began looking for mangoes to sell. The next day, the purchase price increased to 11 coins, then 12 coins, 13 coins, and on subsequent days, it only increased by 1 coin each day. This is a familiar business strategy. By the 5th day, the villagers were accustomed to this price and started hastily selling mangoes for 14 coins before someone else could do the same. They planned to sell to the merchant the next day for 15 coins, making a profit of 1 coin per mango. Here is a typical example of how wealthy individuals use sophisticated tactics to make profits out of thin air. Let's look at Friday, when you sell mangoes for 15 cents each and make a 1-cent profit on each mango sold. In the business world, this is the kind of person you need. You have to let them make money because once someone in the village makes money from selling mangoes, a crowd of others will start following suit. In business thinking, this is called testing the waters. On that day, the merchant had to go back to the city, and his assistant told the villagers that he would secretly sell all the boss's mangoes for 10 cents each. When the merchant returned, they could resell the mangoes to him for 15 cents each and make a profit of 5 cents per mango. The villagers went crazy, selling pots and pans to buy all the mangoes. Then, the assistant took the money and fled, and the merchant never came back. The villagers waited for a long time, believing that the merchant would return to buy their mangoes for 15 cents each. In the end, they couldn't wait any longer because the mangoes would spoil if they were not eaten, and they sold the mangoes to a trader in the neighboring town for 3 cents. It turned out that the trader from the neighboring town was actually the same cunning trader, and now he had acquired the mangoes at a cheaper price. Does this story sound familiar to you? Because this is exactly how the stock market operates. The trader is the one who manipulates the market, the mangoes are the stocks, the assistant is the insider information, and the villagers are the small investors. This is why stock prices always go up, and only later do you realize that you have been caught in a trap. They are playing with human greed. In the next part of the story, which is another trick, after 6 months, the merchant finally returned, saying that he had been seriously ill but still remembered the mango purchase at the price of 15 coins. The villagers sighed, as the merchant had kept his promise. Although they had encountered misfortune, the merchant said that his mangoes had been stolen, and they had been deceived. We are all victims, but I will keep my word. The mangoes are still 15 coins each. Those who bought them before still have theirs. I will just record the debt, he said. At this point, the merchant is not just satisfied with selling mangoes. If you were the merchant and wanted to make more money, what would you do? You realize that some villagers really want to buy mangoes but don't have the money. So, you offer them loans to buy mangoes. Under the familiar mindset, they believe that the price of mangoes will keep rising, resulting in them mortgaging their mangoes to get money and buy even more mangoes. You don't have to stay up late or wake up early to sell mangoes, but you become the largest creditor in the village. Before they pay off the debts, the ownership of the mangoes remains with you. You make money without putting in effort, which is known as leveraging other people's labor for your own benefit. Over time, some of the smarter villagers realize that mangoes are not actually a necessity. They can live well without mangoes. This realization doesn't require you to bear any heavy debts, but when you see that this thinking could threaten your mango business, you start to feel anxious. To maintain interest in mangoes, you have to create new value for them. You tell the young women in the village that a man who cannot afford mangoes does not deserve love. Those who do not buy mangoes realize that all their achievements, academic degrees, scholarships, and excellent certificates cannot compare to a single mango. Despite their altruism and dreams of traveling the world with a sword in hand, they still cannot match those who possess many mangoes and pay in cash. As a result, the smart villagers also reluctantly follow the mundane world, not daring to think differently about the value or sacred meaning of mangoes. After more than 10 years, you notice that the reproduction rate of the villagers cannot keep up with the rate of mango cultivation and harvest. According to the law of supply and demand, the price of mangoes will eventually decrease. The problem is that you have a lot of mangoes mortgaged by the villagers. For example, if someone borrows 20 coins to buy mangoes, once the price of mangoes drops to 10 coins, will the villagers still repay the debts? No, they don't pay, so you come up with a plan. The villagers mortgage their mangoes to you and take out a loan, known as a mortgage loan. You can further mortgage the villagers' debts, transferring the risk burden to others. You withdraw cash once more and exit the game. When mango prices drop, many villagers who hold large amounts of mangoes panic and become angry because they bought at the peak and cannot repay their debts. Their mangoes are auctioned off. Mangoes that were previously worth 20 coins are now worth just a few coins, or even less. The third time, you return to the market with a large sum of money to buy up discounted assets. This is a trick of dealing with bad assets. You stockpile a large quantity of mangoes, knowing that selling them as before is nearly impossible. You come back and beg your village for support. The village is studying the situation, and ultimately, there is no other option. Previously, wasn't there an opening for private investment funds in mango speculation? You hastily package these bad assets and, at the very least, manage to sell them to a private fund manager at twice the price. So, once again, you withdraw cash and exit the game. Do you recognize this? Yes. This is a trick used by big players in the real estate market to pressure ordinary people. Do you understand why banks always have income from interest? Because real estate is the greatest product of banks. Lesson 2. The sad story, insurance agents, and direct sales. A boss in Kaohsiung, Taiwan, has earned over 3 billion Vietnamese dongs this year with just one trick. This model is somewhat unethical, and I do not encourage everyone to replicate it, but we can learn from the logic behind it. This boss, who operates in hardware sales with clients primarily being factories, sells equipment priced at around several hundred million VND each, with a profit margin of about 20%. His approach is very simple. First, he posts numerous job advertisements for salespeople on major recruitment websites. In an unfavorable market with tough business conditions, a basic salary of 10 million Vietnamese dongs is considered very good. However, he offers a straight 30 million Vietnamese dongs. This attracts many salespeople to apply. The basic salary is 30 million Vietnamese dongs, without any deductions, but there is one condition. There is a 1-month probation period during which they must sell 5 machines to be officially hired. If they fail to sell the required number of machines, they are immediately dismissed and only receive 10 million Vietnamese dongs for the probation period. Within 6 months, he hired over 400 salespeople and sold more than 600 machines, directly generating profits in the tens of billions. In the end, only fewer than 30 people met the standards, while the majority only sold 2 or 3 machines and were eliminated if they did not meet the criteria. These very individuals created nearly all of the sales for him. Although it seems unethical, it must be acknowledged that the director's thinking truly pushed the utilization of resources to the extreme. Therefore, when our business is not doing well or when we do not know what to focus on, the main reason may be that our mindset or strategy is not strong enough. Lesson 3. The yin-yang issue. Why your stuff always breaks. This is a money-making trick that top companies such as Apple from the US, Microsoft, Sony from Japan, and Samsung from South Korea have used to take off and empty global pockets. To this day, there are still many merchants using this trick, which originates from a mythical novel called Searching for the Gods. In ancient times, when supernatural occurrences were frequent, people would invite exorcists for help. The exorcist team consisted of 2 people, a master and an apprentice. Both wore robes and carried a sword, appearing very professional. Upon arriving at the scene, the master would first use a heavenly eye to observe the surroundings and detect the troublemakers. If it turned out to be just a group of newly graduated minor demons with very weak powers, the master would signal to the apprentice that these minor characters were good practice. The apprentice understood the hint, immediately drew his sword, and chanted a spell to exorcise the demons. It must be said that this group of demons could not withstand the attack. In the blink of an eye, they were all subdued by the apprentice. After completing the mission and returning to their residence, the master asked, "Today, how many demons have you eliminated?" The disciple replied, 7 times 7, a total of 49. The master asked, "And then what happened?" The disciple answered, "After clearing the demons, I placed talismans at the 4 key directions. These demons won't dare to appear and harm people for the next 100 years. The master sighed, "You've exterminated them all. So what will we eat in the future?" The disciple looked at the master with confusion. The master continued, "Do you know why I cannot become a top exorcist? In our profession, there's a rule. If there are 10 demons, you are only allowed to eliminate 2 or 3. If there are only 5 demons, you should remove 1 or 2. And if there is just 1 demon, it's enough to drive it away. If you eliminate all of them at once, they won't cause any more trouble, and we'll be out of a job. Isn't that right?" In Livermore, California, there is a fire station where a light bulb has been burning continuously since 1901, for approximately 120 years. The company Selby, which manufactured this bulb, had to close in 1925 because their bulbs were too durable. Subsequently, 5 major American light bulb manufacturers formed a price-fixing cartel called Forus, which mandated that the lifespan of light bulbs could not exceed 1,000 hours. This forced consumers to replace bulbs regularly, allowing these manufacturers to generate continuous income. In 2018, The German magazine speaker reported that the antitrust authority in Italy fined Apple €10 million for planning to gradually phase out smartphones, encouraging users to upgrade to a new version of the iOS operating system that their phones did not fully support and not offering a downgrade option, thereby prompting customers to buy new phones. Samsung faced a similar fine of €5 million for the same reason. Why does your expensive phone charger break after a short period of use? Have you noticed that when you stop using your skincare products, your skin immediately encounters problems? The logic here is that while addressing one need, new needs are created. In business, only problems create needs, and only needs generate profits. Those who always aim for a perfect score of 100 are often scientists. They focus on problems, which create needs, and those needs generate profits. On the other hand, those who only want to achieve a score of 60 are often traders. I recall a humorous saying that goes, "The money of a bad person is only to be shown to women, while the money of a romantic person is actually spent on women." The first type creates needs. As long as needs exist, the relationship continues. The second type, from the beginning, spares no effort in fulfilling the need, and once the need is satisfied, the purpose of your existence is questioned. Lesson 4. Earn money from the future. A young man born after 1990 used a smart strategy to take over a supermarket without spending a dime and made 3 billion Vietnamese dongs in just 1 month. How did he do it? This young man discovered a supermarket in a good location and well decorated, but the previous owner, due to monthly losses, was preparing to sell it. The transfer price was 3 billion Vietnamese dongs. This young man proposed to collaborate with the previous owner, putting down a deposit of 500 million Vietnamese dongs and promising to pay the remaining 2.5 billion Vietnamese dongs after 1 month. If he couldn't pay, he would forfeit the deposit. The previous owner agreed and handed over the business to him. Subsequently, the young man launched a promotional program where customers only needed to deposit 1,000 Vietnamese dongs to receive 1,000 Vietnamese dongs, get an additional 1,000 Vietnamese dongs for free, and receive a 1,000 Vietnamese dongs refund. Specifically, a deposit of 1,000 and a refund of 1,000 is understandable, but on top of that, they also give away 1,000 eggs and an additional 1,000 in cash. It sounds like it could be a loss, doesn't it? When people hear about such a huge promotion, they all rush in, and 1,500 people immediately make deposits. So, how does the young man make money? Let's use an example to make it easier to understand. In reality, the 1,000 eggs are distributed over 100 weeks, with 10 eggs given out each week. This means people are tied to the store for nearly 2 years, and 10 eggs a week are definitely not enough. When customers come to collect the eggs, they are sure to buy additional products. Each time they spend, they receive a 1,000 refund applied as a 10% discount on the total purchase amount, until they reach 1,000. After using up this 1,000 refund, customers immediately receive an additional 1,000 in cash because they have spent a total of 10 million at the store. Thanks to this approach, the young man managed to pocket 3 billion in cash, return 500 million to the previous owner, and still retain 500 million in cash for working capital. Most importantly, during this process, he secured 1,500 customers, ensuring a stable customer base for the supermarket. You will notice that more and more restaurants, barbershops, and gyms are starting to adopt this method. Remember, customers are not only looking for a bargain, they want to gain an advantage. Lesson 5. Why the state doesn't encourage saving too much. On a sweltering day in a small town where everyone was heavily indebted and lived on credit, a wealthy guest from elsewhere arrived. He walked into a hotel, placed a 1,000 dong note on the reception desk, and said he wanted to inspect the room before deciding whether to stay. While the guest went upstairs, the hotel owner took the 1,000 dong note, ran to the neighboring butcher, and paid off a meat debt. The butcher used the 1,000 dong note to pay a debt to the pig farmer. The pig farmer, in turn, used the money to pay for pig feed. The feed seller hurriedly used the 1,000 dong note to settle a debt with a prostitute. The prostitute then ran to the hotel to pay her overdue room bill. The hotel owner quickly placed the 1,000 dong note back on the reception desk, to avoid suspicion from the guest when he came down. The guest came downstairs, picked up the 1,000 dong note, declared that there were no satisfactory rooms, and then put the money back in his pocket and left. That day, no new goods were created, and no one received anything new, but all the debts in the town were settled, and everyone was very pleased. This story teaches us a lesson that cash needs to circulate to create value, and that speculation always exists in the economy. Here is a humorous example involving two economics students walking down the street who see a pile of feces. Student A says to Student B, "If you eat this pile of feces, I will give you 50 million. Without thinking, Student B eats the feces for the money. Student A then writes a check for 50 million and gives it to Student B. They continue walking, but both are troubled. Student A thinks that paying 50 million just to see someone eat feces wasn't worth it. Student B thinks that eating feces to get 50 million wasn't worth it either. Suddenly, they see another pile of feces. Student B wants revenge and says to Student A, "If you eat this pile of feces, I will give you back the 50 million. Student A sees this as an opportunity to make up for the loss and eats the feces. However, they both realize something is wrong. Neither of them gained anything except for having eaten a pile of feces. They tell this story to their economics professor, who excitedly exclaims, "Oh my God, do you know what you've just done? You've created 100 million in GDP. GDP stands for Gross Domestic Product. In the first story, the 1,000 dong bill changed hands 5 times, thus creating 5,000 dong in GDP. So, if the market is stagnating, as it is currently, and everyone is just accumulating cash, the market will further decline, making it even harder for you to make money. That is why capitalists always encourage us to spend. If we don't spend, they will find it difficult to continue earning profits from us." Thank you all for taking the time to watch this video. We greatly appreciate your support and aim to bring even more value in the future. Please like the video if you found it useful, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel for the latest updates. Each like, share, and subscription is a great encouragement to us. Thank you sincerely, and have a great day. We look forward to seeing you in the next video. Book summary. Wishing you success.